This episode of the Bad Crypto Podcast is brought to you by Etoro. The best way to be smart about trading crypto is to use the smartest trading platform. And you can get $25 in free Bitcoin from Bad Crypto when you go to badco.in/eToro and follow the easy instructions. That's badco.in/eToro. What do Southpark, Bitcoin, and vegetables have in common? Well, they all play a role in this episode. Go figure. In fact, if you're a fan of Bitcoin, Adult Swim, or broccoli, you'll find something for everyone today. We're inclusive that way. We're pleased to welcome Rob Allen, a.k.a. Broccoli Rob, to the show to discuss his new animated feature, Bitcoin and Friends. And then Algorand will be in the spotlight to discuss building a better blockchain. It's all fun and games until Leticia Lettuce shows up. So remember to eat your veggies and clean your plate as we fire up episode number 292 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
Welcome to the Bad Crypto Podcast, the show for the crypto curious, the crypto serious, and the crypto vegetable-less.
I'm Travis Wright,
Welcome.
and this is another episode of Bad Crypto.
And I'm Leticia Lettuce. Oh, she's here.
Oh, no,
she's
you
here
didn't.
early.
Oh, no, you did. You talk about lettuce like that.
You know, just because we have a guy on the show who's nicknamed Broccoli Rob, it just opened up this whole can of vegetables, basically.
That's true. We apologize in advance, but it's somewhat humorous. I mean, the show, if you like humor and you like crypto, which we assume you do because you're tuning into this show, you're going to love BTC and Friends, this new Bitcoin and Friends cartoon that we're going to be talking about in this episode. So stay tuned.
Mm-hmm. And I want to give a quick recognition to our show sponsor, our new sponsor, Etoro. This is a killer crypto app, gang. If you haven't downloaded it, you're going to want to. Travis and I are both using it now, and we're going to be announcing a friendly competition that he and I are going to have, investing the same amount of money in portfolios, and we're going to share with you what those portfolios are, and bottom line is I'm going to win.
Well, yeah, I'm still waiting on my account to be approved. Once that account gets there, you got a head start on me. You got to jump. You got a nice little gainer there on Bitcoin popping up for you already, I'm sure.
Well, you don't know what I invested in.
I tell you what, folks, if you are on Coinbase or if you are on Robinhood, you're going to want to at least take a look at Etoro. I know that Joel and I've had some challenges with Coinbase in the past. I mean, you know, one thing we like about crypto is it's, for the most part, it's decentralized. It's all inclusive. But Coinbase is shutting down people's accounts, right? They don't like your political stance. They're shutting down accounts. We don't like that. And Etoro is available worldwide. So it's not just a U.S.-centric company. This is a global company, and they've been doing stuff pretty amazing all over. So if you are anywhere but the U.S., I believe you can buy and trade stocks on the platform as well as crypto. You just can't do that in the U.S. yet, but there's 14 cryptos available on the platform in America. So I would say check it out.
Yeah, they're making their move into America, and we are happy to offer Bad Coin socks. These are super badass. Well, they're bad foot. And you can get a pair. Simply go to badco.in/eToro to find out how. Basically, it takes you opening an account, getting approved, depositing $50 and buying crypto with that $50, sending us the proof. But you'll see it's all right there. We've gone on long enough about it. Go check it out.
On the beautiful page that I created.
You did.
Go check out that. Just badco.in/eToro, ETORO. I almost said zero. Don't do that. That's not right. eToro. And go check out the amazing webpage that I created.
Alrighty, let's learn about vegetables and a Bitcoin in Friends. Well, this is cauliflower Chuck.
This is asparagus Al.
Oh, hey, Al. We've got another vegetable friend with us today. It's Broccoli Rob. Oh. Hey, Broccoli.
Hello, vegetable friends. How are you today?
So
This is dill pickle
roughly,
Devin.
I like that. Who doesn't like
And
dill
I'm-
pickle?
I'm Zucchini's head.
Oh, and just like that, the alphabet is complete. Very nice. Welcome back. Not technically back, Mr. Broccoli Rob.
Yeah, we've had a few technical difficulties making the show happen, but third time's a charm.
Third time is a charm. With us today, we have Rob Allen, aka Broccoli Rob. He is the creator of a edgy crypto-related cartoon called Bitcoin and Friends. Maybe you guys have seen it on YouTube. There's a couple full-length episodes out there, and it's informative, it's entertaining, and expletive warning right now. This is not for the kiddies. This is Adult Swim type stuff, and it's pretty damn funny. Rob's a lifelong entrepreneur. He's an autodidact. I just learned what that is. He's worked in fields ranging from music production to finance and is now producing Bitcoin and Friends, which the website is BTC and Friends. Rob, welcome back, even though it is the first actual time people are hearing about you on Bad Crypto.
Yeah, great to speak with you guys again.
This is going to be the best interview of all, because the first two times we actually did the interview and the audio went like that. And then we tried to record with you again and it was too noisy. We couldn't do it. And now you're here and it's happening.
Here I am. I'm thrilled to be here. Very excited.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Where did your involvement with Bitcoin begin?
So let's see. I remember going to Porcupine Freedom Festival up in New Hampshire in 2011. And that's the first time that I encountered Bitcoin. That's a libertarian festival that's put on every summer. And some friends invited me up. And so I went. And of course, people were using precious metals a lot at that time for, transacting silver and copper and I guess perhaps gold, although it's hard to use gold for, small transactions. But I also noticed some vendors there were selling things for Bitcoin. And sadly, to my forever shame, I did not pay very much attention to that. I wrote it off pretty quickly, basically thought, well, this is silly. How can you have a money online? Why couldn't they just copy and paste as much currency as they want? So in other words, I really didn't look into it, and I didn't realize that the problem of digital scarcity had been solved by Bitcoin. And so then it was, I guess, maybe 2 years roughly went by before Bitcoin was in the news again in 2013. And I started paying attention at that point. And I thought, well, if this is a scam, how is it still around? And so I read the white paper at that point and realized that this project seems like it actually might work, and kept reading. And I had a lot of skepticism at first, and but just point by point started moving through that skepticism and realizing, well, wow, this actually seems like it could really work. And at that point, I was working as a precious metals broker for Peter Schiff, who is still a very vocal critic of Bitcoin. He still hasn't seemed to be able to wrap his head around it. And I think for people coming from the precious metals sort of perspective, the problem that I think Peter has and a lot of people is they still struggle with this idea, feeling like money needs to have some kind of intrinsic value, or that it needs to be a physical, sort of commodity. And so that was a little bit of a challenge for me at first. But then, if I'm not sure how much you guys have read of Austrian economists, but, one of the foundational ideas that you run into there, actually from Menger, who's kind of like the father of the Austrian school, is the idea that value is subjective, and that it ultimately is a matter of what humans value things at. That's what their value is, period. And so, as I got thinking more and more about it, I just realized, wow, my perspective on this was wrong. And this actually seems like it could work. And then, of course, gold was unable to stay a money because governments were able to seize it. It became centralized in vaults because it's difficult to transact with, and so it was easier to just use checks and
It's hard to give somebody $1 million worth of gold. That's pretty heavy.
Right.
You can't just carry that stuff around.
Yeah, it's cumbersome. And so, so gold ended up in vaults, and then it was just too attractive for governments to resist the temptation to seize that and to start printing money. And now we have the dollar is worth, maybe it's lost 97, 98 something % of its value in the last 100 years. So it's been a pretty big disaster. And I think in retrospect, as I've had a few years away from the precious metals market, that it's very unlikely that gold will ever be monetized again because of the reason, that it was demonetized, being that governments have been able to control it and seize it and manipulate it. And now you have, large bullion banks and other players who can, short the metals, and you've got naked shorting and some really crazy practices that are, make it easy to manipulate. So
yeah, it's like I think for every ounce of gold, there's like 525 fake paper ounces of gold or something out there that just people are trading. So it's like the real value of gold is so deflated due to all of the paper gold action, right?
Right, exactly. And I was seeing that, as I was in that market for about 4 years, reading and learning, I kind of finally found that seemed to be the problem, and that the market would probably be forever kind of tamped down, I should say, due to all that paper on top of it. And so Bitcoin to me really struck me as solving this problem of the negative physicality aspect of gold was solved by Bitcoin in the sense that you don't need to trust a vault to hold your metals. You can actually hold the Bitcoin yourself, and so that decentralization of the money, which is really important in the face of government violence, that decentralization is extremely important, and that Bitcoin delivers that. And so that really captured my imagination, and I would say within the course of a few months' time, I became very committed and sort of almost religiously so, as a lot of people will joke about Bitcoin. But
let me ask you this: so how do you go about setting up a cartoon, right? Because like now, are you're not the artist of this, right? So you had the idea to do this and set it up, but like, how is this? How did you go about the process of, all right, I'm gonna do a cartoon. What are all the components that I need? And you went and set it all up. Like, how'd that work?
Well, to be clear, my role is as producer, and the creator of the show is actually Chris Allen, who's my younger brother. He goes by Uncle Chris.
He's not cauliflower Chris?
No, we didn't stick with vegetables for all of our names, but
that's too bad. I think
so too.
An opportunity there.
Well, who knows? We've joked about changing the names in every episode
because we already have cauliflower, or whatever your name,
cauliflower Charlie.
Chuck. Did you say cabbage?
Chris,
yeah, like that. That's kind of nice. But yeah, so Chris approached me, I guess maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago at this point, with the sort of initial idea, and I think that came from the germ of it was actually we were working on an advertisement that we were going to use for a crypto project, and it was basically like a bunch of actors would have been in costumes in these big coin foam costumes, and they were going to be sitting around having a conversation, sort of like an AA meeting, and the different coins were going to be discussing their problems. And anyway, we never finished that advertisement, but it was interesting to think about sort of personifying these networks as a character. And then Chris thought about, doing it in the form of a cartoon, had some ideas about, I remember original conversation, he talked about Bitcoin could vomit up the block reward every 10 minutes, which I thought was a really funny, and kind of genius way of explaining how the network works in terms of the block reward. And
it's hilarious because Bitcoin, he did B as they call him, because he doesn't know who he is or where he came from, and he's just experiencing this thing of blah, he pukes up the reward has been, all these little Bitcoins are running around. This show is edgy, and you're telling the story of Bitcoin history. I mean, you've got Hal Finney in there. You've got a character named Metallic that's inspired by Vitalik. You've got Jones, who is kind of like the regular guy who's learning about this. So, how did you even get inspired to do this show?
Well, Chris has been working for basically since he was in high school, he started writing screenplays and has wanted to direct and work, in entertainment really since high school. And so he's been working on projects throughout the years. He has done a few independent films, and so that's his background. And of course, my background being more in Bitcoin and finance, although I have done some music production way back in my younger years. So anyway, I guess it was just kind of a perfect combination of Chris's skill set in terms of being a writer and having a passion to produce good entertainment, and then me coming into it, of course, being really kind of down the rabbit hole with Bitcoin. Although Chris actually got into Bitcoin around 2013 as well, so we've been together. Following the markets, investing, talking for years now about crypto. We actually did some mining together. We went in on some GPU miners back in, I guess it was 2013, 2014, and we were, mining Litecoin and a bunch of other scripts and similar, coins. So, but yeah, I mean, the inspiration. Well, I guess again, so some of these initial ideas that Chris came up with, I thought were really great. And then as we started talking, it just became very apparent that, there's already a tremendous sort of treasure trove of interesting developments that have occurred in the short 10 years now of the history of Bitcoin. A lot of interesting twists and turns, the Silk Road, Ross Ulbricht, Charlie Shrem, and political intrigue, governments trying to ban Bitcoin and failing in that. And the fact that it's a global decentralized project and you really do have people all over the world contributing. I mean, all those things are just, I think, so very interesting and make for a, already rich sort of playground to create a good story. Then from there, it's just a matter of making sure that we create characters that are really memorable and lovable, and that people are going to want to watch develop and to jump into the journey with them. And I'm happy to say I think we've done a pretty good job of that, which is, a lot of that is to Chris as the main writer of the show. He's really done a good job. Yeah, and it's just been a real pleasure working on it, and to see the interest from the community has been strong and seems to be growing. And so and it was really an opportunity that seemed to be just waiting for someone to pounce on it. And so that's what
great.
We're doing.
Now, let me ask you this then. So, you guys have been doing this show now for a while. You guys have 2 episodes complete, right? You guys are working on the 3rd episode. What episode is Bad Crypto going to be in? Because that's going to be a hilarious episode.
Well, we haven't written in Bad Crypto
what about
yet.
Sal? Is he in there yet?
How about Mushroom Mike?
Yeah, I don't think we'll have any vegetables in the show. That was just for the credits.
Not even like Ronnie Rutabaga. I mean, he's not going to be in there.
The Winklevoss would be hilarious to have in there. They don't need to have their own vegetable name, but they're going to be funny.
No, they would be the Watercress Winklevi. Yeah.
Well, there was already a show called Veggietales for children that really kind of delved into a lot of that vegetable fun.
This has nothing to do with crypto, but you're the one who goes by Broccoli Rob, so I'm just going to say I blame you. Yeah. You asked for it.
Yeah, well, and it's unfortunate. Just I couldn't we couldn't come up with a good nickname, and that one just stuck. So
wasn't Broccoli Rob though? That was from The Office, right? I mean, because it was Andy's a cappella group. Here Comes Treble, and Broccoli Rob was the guy who he competed with to be lead singer.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where it comes from originally. But no, I mean, I don't know why someone picked that. At Chris or one of our friends, said it as a joke, and then I thought it was funny. And
that was pretty funny. So seriously though, but talk a little bit about the the ongoing episodes. What you're looking for, the kind of the time release, so people can know what to expect moving forward.
Yeah, so we are releasing episode 3 here pretty soon. We are actually premiering it at Bit Block Boom conference in Texas, which is a Bitcoin and Bitcoin only conference, which I think is fine and kind of maybe refreshing even. So we'll be I'll be attending that conference, and we'll be premiering episode 3 there, and then we'll be releasing it also, of course, on YouTube shortly after. I don't know if we've officially announced. I think it will be the 17th, although there's a possibility we may delay it a few days, mostly due to our marketing guy is going to be on vacation, so we got to work around his schedule a little bit. But anyway, it'll be coming out here soon, very soon, and
I'm waiting for it. We got a cliffhanger there, and I'm like, what happens to B? I need to know.
Yeah.
So here's my question. You're raising funds for this. Are you taking donations or are you taking investors? How does that work?
Yeah, so we've so far been able to fund the project ourselves and with the help of sponsors and people donating. And so episode 1 was completely self-funded and ran about $45,000. We definitely spent more than we should have, but when you're getting into a new form of entertainment, for us, this is our first time working to create a cartoon. There's a bit of a learning curve there, and we probably could have been a little bit smarter with how we use the money. We've been able to get our budgets down closer to $20,000 per episode, and that's what we're going to be hopefully shooting for moving forward. And so, it's been a bit of a challenge, of course, but thankfully we've had sponsors for episode 2, and we have a sponsor for episode 3. So we're not getting rich yet, but we're at least we're getting to the point where we're getting close to breaking even on episodes, which is exciting. And yeah, we've had a lot of people donate. If you go to btcandfriends.com, you'll see there's a whole section where we have different like reward tiers, similar to if you were to use Kickstarter or a platform like that, Indiegogo. So similar idea where we're giving people different, rewards for their donations. And, of course, we have some merch, although we need to add more to that. But we have a few shirts and things for sale. But, yeah, generally speaking, the bulk of the money that we're getting to fund these episodes is coming from our sponsors. And so that's really been exciting to see crypto companies come alongside us and help us make it happen. And, of course, down the road, we would love to eventually maybe see if we could get the show onto a network of sorts like Adult Swim or Netflix or something. But, I think right now our plan is to try to finish the first season, have it on YouTube, and then see if we can go, with a complete season to some of these networks and show them what we've done, show them the budget we had, compared to some of the bigger cartoons out there. We're working on, really like a micro budget. Some cartoons have anywhere between, $500,000 and $1 million per episode, just crazy, huge budgets compared to what we've been working with. So I think, given that fact alone, I think it's pretty impressive what we've been able to do. And, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're doing this really as a labor of love because we love Bitcoin and we want to see this industry grow and to see ultimately Bitcoin, take over as the currency of the globe. And so that's why we're doing it.
Yeah, as of right now, in fact, so this episode airs on the 6th of August, but we're recording this on the 5th, and Bitcoin is at about 11,800. So the market seems to be rebounding. I'm curious here as we close out, what do you think about the altcoins?
Well, we definitely are addressing altcoins in the show. And I think overall, our perspective, both Chris and I are pretty close in alignment on this, is that, competition is ultimately healthy in any market. And so it's good that there are competing implementations of the technology. I do think that the, vast majority of these other projects will probably amount to nothing. And so, you need to, if you are investing in this space, I think, it's important to pay attention to the fact that there really are network effects that come into play. And so even though Bitcoin may, not be the fastest or the, whatever criteria you have, I'm sure you can find some altcoin that'll claim it's better, but all that said, when you factor in the network effect of Bitcoin and the fact that it is, by far the most recognizable cryptocurrency, it's going to take a lot to dethrone it. And I also think that the there's quite a bit in terms of investment in terms of mind share and companies investing in Bitcoin itself. And so, I'm personally very, very, very bullish on Bitcoin. But I think, Ethereum is an interesting project. It'll be interesting to see if they can figure out a way to scale it. And of course, that's also been a bit of a challenge for Bitcoin. So, it's early days. There's a lot to be seen with all of these projects. But I think if you're going to invest in crypto, you should definitely have a majority stake in Bitcoin. And I think otherwise is probably foolish. And in terms of how we're going to handle it in the show, well, you'll see in episode 3, we're going to introduce Litecoin. Some people may be offended, but it's all in good fun. So I won't spoil it beyond just saying that there may be a little controversy around it.
Dude, it's already offensive. I mean, you're not pulling any punches in the show. It is definitely Southpark meets, Bitcoin.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure. That's what we're trying to do.
Excellent. Well, we wish you the best of luck with it. And, in the next episode of Veggies on Crypto, we'll have the female version of the show with Yolanda Yam, Ophelia Onion, and Christina Kale. So stick around. Hey, Rob, good luck. The website again, btcandfriends.com, where you can look up Bitcoin and Friends on the YouTubes. There's also in the show notes links to all of these, as well as their Twitter and Facebook at badco.in / what episode are we even in here? 292. That's where you do it. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I can't wait to see episode number 3, Mr. Travis Wright. This is really entertaining and informative stuff.
This is the eggplant Elmer. I don't know what you're referencing. Who is Travis? I don't know. Turnip Travis? Is it? I've not met him.
Turnip, yes. Oh, no, Travis Tomato.
I've still not met him, but you should check out my glue. Like my glue.
Yeah, that's nice. Or you
check
might
out
want
my
to check
eggplant.
out
Would you like to check out
our,
my eggplant?
Keep your eggplant to yourself.
I'm very proud of it.
Don't tell me no lie. And keep your eggplant to yourself. I'm a big chicken Parmesan fan, and somebody said, "Hey, you need to try this eggplant Parmesan." And I taste it's like, this is disgusting. Why? Ew, gross. No.
Yeah, that's what John McAfee's going to make. He's going to have eggplant Parmesan in 2020.
Okay, I think I was going to talk about our other sponsor, which is NASGO. The Go Blatty, my daddy. NASGO is the GoDaddy of blockchain. When you think of GoDaddy, you think of a all-in-one service that provides everything you need for hosting your website. Well, NASGO intends to make it super simple to tokenize your business with no coding required. It's a simple, easy solution. Get you into the blockchain frontier. They've got an easy-to-use NASGO wallet, and this helps you to get your business on blockchain without spending a whole butt-ton of money. We featured them on episode 282, badco.in /282. Check them out at nasgo.com.
All right. Thank you so much, NASGO. Big fan of you guys. Hey, up next, we're going to have a spotlight interview with a company called Algorand, and they're doing some really interesting stuff on the blockchain, doing some things with some financial services and being built on top of that. So you're going to want to tune into this.
Yes, you are. And as always with our spotlight segments, this is a sponsored segment. It means we're being compensated for the segment. And we really like what we heard on these guys. But of course, we're not financial advisors and never buy, sell, or trade any cryptos just based on us having them on the show. Always do your own due diligence and research. And with that, Stephen with Algorand.com. A borderless economy, boundless opportunity. Sounds like the beginning of a movie trailer, but it's not. It's a new company called Algorand, and they claim to be defining the standard for blockchain technology with a pure proof-of-stake protocol. They say it's the first of the kind. We're going to find out more because we have the CEO, Mr. Steve Kokinos, here with us. Steve, welcome to Bad Crypto.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Do you like that idea of maybe a movie trailer around Algorand in a
I think
world?
I think it'll be pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad. I like the movie phone voice that you have going there too.
Let me finish. I'll read the rest of this just so we can get the full vibe. Our pure proof of stake protocol is the first of its kind to support the scale, open participation, and transaction finality for billions of users, all backed by a sustainable business and a renowned team of experts. Playing soon in a theater near you. Algorand.com is the website. Hey, Steve, tell us what's busted in the blockchain world that we need Algorand to come along and fix it.
Yeah, well, I think there's a few kind of just like big problems that are out there. And I think if you look at, Bitcoin, look, we're huge supporters of Bitcoin. It's obviously, has really created a whole industry and super innovative. But we think that there are other platforms that are needed to sort of reinforce. And I think there's a few different things that are needed if kind of the whole world is going to transact using digital currency. One is transactions have to happen quickly. The second is you need to know, especially as if you have things that are very valuable, whether your payment went through or not, and you need to know kind of for sure. And beyond that, I think if you look at some of the systems that are out there, it's pretty inefficient, and not only in terms of scalability, but in terms of the amount of power consumption and compute that's needed to run them. And so I think there's sort of a so-called blockchain trilemma that Vitalik Buterin posed, which is that you can have speed, scalability, and security, but you have to pick two. And I think we really set out to solve some of the hard computer science problems to show that you don't have to compromise in any of those ways. And that's what Algorand represents.
The era of a decentralized borderless economy is here.
Hey, I don't steal your Christopher Walken impressions. Why are you taking my movie phone voice?
Sorry, my movie phone voice is a little better. So it's like a little.
You guys both have pretty good movie phone voices. I think it's impressive that can happen in one group.
Well, movie phone is more like welcome to movie phone for Algorand. Press 1 for Algorand Foundation. Press 2. Which I know you've got a great question, Mr. Travis. Right, go for it.
I do got a great question. So the consensus mechanism you guys have, it's permissionless and pure proof of stake. You want to maybe talk about how it ensures the full participation and protection and speed within your decentralized network?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of sort of unique things about Algorand. So one, if you look at other types of proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, really there's sort of a group of block proposers that are selected in some sort of way. Either they're voted in or they're sort of decided by a certain group of people. But the net is, it's pretty centralized because of those choices that have to be made. Algorand is really the first protocol where it is truly public and permissionless proof of stake. And what's sort of unique in what Silvio and the team here designed is that every block is proposed by a different user, and it's the users on the network, all of them in total, that participate in consensus and create the blocks and confirm the blocks. And I think the real innovation is the use of a cryptographic lottery. So everybody who's online basically runs a lottery as every block happens. One person at random is selected to be the block proposer, and a group of around 1,000 people are selected to be the block approvers. And they don't know who each other are. Nobody knows who wins. They don't communicate with each other. It's only known as the block is circulated, and it's circulated with both the proposal and all the votes needed to confirm it. And that happens as it's coming around the network. And so the thing about Algorand is that you don't really know who to attack until the block is already over. And then at that point, it's too late because it's another group of random people that are selected for the next one. And I think, form, that means that everything can happen very quickly, and that really the speed of blockchain for Algorand is really limited only by the speed of the network, and it's as fast as blocks can be circulated around.
In fact, so fast that one day they will replace the term the speed of light with the speed of Algorand. Right?
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, you can use that for your marketing right there. So Algorand.com is the website, but there's also the Algorand Foundation, which is at Algorand Foundation. And it's caught my attention because you're doing auctions for Algo, that I'm alleging that is your token, right? And so how does that work? Talk about the token dynamics and how this all functions together.
Yeah, well, I think first, just Algorand Inc. is a U.S. company focused on blockchain development and releasing open source software. The Algorand Foundation is based in Singapore and launched the public network, and also is responsible for the algo as a token. And one of the things that I think the project felt strongly about was that the market kind of set a fair price for the token, and the market really determined that, and that it shouldn't really be up to kind of the project or sort of anyone else really to figure out what should be or what value is. And the idea was to use a Dutch auction, which is something that's used in all sorts of different auctioning of financial instruments. Most central governments use it for bond auctions and currency auctions and whatnot. And so we thought that it was good for a number of reasons, but primarily is that because it's the lowest price auction, it starts at sort of the maximum price and then declines over time, and that every single participant that has a bid that's a winning bid gets the same price, and it's the lowest price that clears the round that wins. And so that seems sort of inherently fair to us, and that was the idea behind doing that way, which is let people in the market determine the price, and not have kind of predefined ideas that come from the project.
Very cool. Tell us a little bit about your team, because you guys are embarking on a really interesting project here. And so, tell us some of the highlights of what makes your team so extraordinary for this type of project.
Yeah, well, I think there's one, it really starts with the science team here. And I think for anybody who doesn't know him or hasn't heard of him, Silvio Micali is the founder of Algorand. He is a Turing Prize winner and MIT professor. And I think by all accounts, really is sort of one of the founders of modern cryptography. And a lot of the sort of cryptographic mechanisms that people use in all sorts of, throughout the blockchain world, and even to secure transactions on the internet, he had hand in creating. Specifically, there's an idea of zero knowledge proofs and verifiable random functions, both of which he was a co-inventor of and are used in many different blockchains. So I think really starts with Silvio. But then if you look through kind of the entire research and engineering teams, I think we have an amazing group of people. And I think, on the other side, we have a really experienced group of business people as well. I'm a serial entrepreneur who's, started and helped take several companies, public and grown them. And I think the same is true of a lot of other folks on the business side. And so I think we really, have tried to put a lot of thought, not only into the tech, but also thought in terms of kind of how we approach the market, how we encourage new people to come into the crypto and blockchain community. And I think that's something that's really important to us for sure. If you look at, just take it from a developer standpoint, there's about 20 million developers in the world right now. Only around 100,000 of them or so are developing for blockchain. So we think that we haven't even hit the start line yet. And there's going to be a big wave of growth that needs to get driven. And in part, it's going to take new projects and new ideas to, help encourage new people to get into the market.
100,000 developers out there doing blockchain. I think that's a generous number at this point. That seems high.
Well, I think it's higher than it is, but we want to make sure that we think it's okay to be generous. The point is, there's a lot more that need to get brought in space.
So true.
At the beginning still. So where are you guys? I know you're not at the beginning. You're definitely down the development chain here. So kind of give us an idea of what's been done and what is to come on your timeline.
Yeah, so two different things. One, anybody who wants to go to our website, we have a series of posts there explaining kind of what our roadmap is. But I think one of the critical things is that we felt strongly that you kind of need to get out in the market and have like an actual running public chain for people to be able to engage with you. And separately, we wanted to just prove that we can deliver. I think that's something that's hasn't always been the case in the space. And so we went live about 6 weeks ago. So we've been live. Platform has been running, very well. And just so everyone, a couple stats, we're observing during the day something around, kind of 1,200 people running nodes, supporting the network. And we have had no block complete in over 4.5 seconds. Average block takes about 4.3 seconds. So the network's running very smoothly. It's, kind of been live for a while. It's been stable, and we're excited that people are starting to really engage with the project and build applications on top of it. The next sort of wave for us is really thinking about how do we help people with asset creation? How do we help people with a variety of things? And so if you look at some of our roadmap items, it's really targeted toward that and towards getting people to come bring their tokens onto the Algorand blockchain and take advantage of all of the sort of fundamental properties that we have there. And some of that is sort of, I think, traditional tokens. We also think that there's a whole universe of financial instruments and ability to help people create decentralized financial products out there. You know, it suggests people check out an announcement we put out recently that we partnered with ISDA, which is the International Swaps and Derivatives Association. We're the first crypto project to partner with them, and they have a model that represents sort of all the different financial instruments that are used out in the market today, and you know, we're bringing that into the decentralized world. So really excited to continue sort of driving that forward. But I think it's part core technology that we'll continue to innovate on and make sure that we're delivering more performance, delivering it over the long run, making it easier for the platform to use, but then also adding functionality. And I think the next kind of wave of features will be rolled out in the coming months here.
So let me ask you this, Steve. You know, there are a lot of blockchains out there now, right? I mean, since 2017, I don't even know how many different platforms that we've talked to a bunch. So why would, you know, somebody who is looking to build, you know, on a blockchain or build a blockchain project or build a financial service, why would they choose Algorand over like an EOS or Tron or Ethereum or one of these other ones? What really separates you guys, the cream of the crop, and what type of projects are you guys focused on having built on your platform?
Sure. Well, I guess one of the things I will say is that I think Algorand represents one of a very small number, perhaps at most a couple of others, that is completely new tech from the ground up. We weren't derived from another platform or project. Really, this was designed from first principles and to solve kind of problems in existing systems. The second is, we believe really strongly in decentralization, but also, if you look at things like scalability, need to be able to scale up, but also needing finality, knowing that your payment went through, and have it be very efficient. And so if you look at that, I think Algorand really represents kind of a new next generation technology. And what we found is that there's a lot of applications out there where people have big user bases, they need scale, but they may also have concerns around censorship. They want to make sure that the platform is going to serve all of their users regardless of where they are in the world. And I think that's something that we're very committed to for sure. And so I think it's that's sort of one just sort of like technical set. I think on the other side, understanding how to engage with developers, with people who are building applications, is something that we're also been very focused on as well. And whether that means, kind of getting in and helping people with their applications and supporting them, that's one thing. But the other is, really looking at tools. I think one of the biggest things that we want people to understand is that, while the tech behind Algorand is very complicated, the way you interact with it is very simple. And I think whether you're an end user and take a look at our mobile app, it's very clean and simple and fast. But also if you're a developer, all of our libraries, our APIs, our tools are designed to be very, very easy. And when we think that, one of the ways to encourage new people to come build on blockchain is by kind of bringing them tools that they know how to use, that make it easy for them, and that we're largely, while they need to understand that the platform is based on great tech, that they don't need to get too into the details of it themselves. And so, I think this is sort of the difference between, if you look at, what Stripe brought to payments, it was, really simplicity and making it easy for people to do that. And we want to do the same in the blockchain world, is make it really, really easy for people who may be new to the market to come in and be able to build decentralized apps without having to learn a lot about the
way
tech.
to represent, Steve. Travis, I kind of heard your question, like, what makes you guys so great? Like, it was more wordy, but come on, prove it.
Well, I mean, we're at a point where there's so many of them. The folks who are listening are trying to differentiate and are trying to place bets on where they think the best projects and best technology lies. And so I think Steve gave a great answer as to why they're doing well.
I concur. And Steve, as we wrap up here, tell us how people can get involved.
Yeah, so a few different ways. One, for anybody who's interested in learning more about the technology, can go to algorand.com. We have a series of articles, videos. For anyone who's just new to the project or the space, there's some great videos from Silvio. I think one of his greatest gifts, outside of being an amazing scientist, is being able to really simply explain very complicated tech in a way that's easy to understand. For sure, from there, I would suggest people follow us on social media, and then also, be sure to check out the Algorand Foundation, where there's more information on things like tokens and the public network and how to get involved in that. But really excited to have have anybody join that's interested.
There you go, gang. Check it out, algorand.com or algorand.foundation. Learn more about this project. Steve, thanks again, and best of luck with your project.
Thanks so much, guys. Look forward to talking again soon.
Mr. Joel, I'm very offended. This is Jalapeno Jose. You didn't mention me at all.
Oh my gosh, cultural appropriation. This really goes, Travis, with this this review that just popped up on iTunes. I'm offended all the way from Australia. I've just listened to episode 209, and neither Travis or Joel did an Australian accent. They do French, British, Italian, and many more in other eps, but didn't take the chance when talking to an Aussie. Love your work, love the crypto info, and love the awful impressions written by Wanting More Options. Well, now you've got a Spanish impression there, because Jalapeno Jose just stopped in.
That's true. Good stuff, man. This is a fun episode. We talked about some really innovative technology with Algorand. We talked with a really funny and offensive cartoon, which is very educational around Bitcoin. And we talked about NASGO, and we introduced our new sponsor, Etoro. Pretty full episode, Mr. Joel.
Indeed it is. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, make sure that you go drop a review on iTunes, Facebook, or wherever it is that you listen to the show. Give us 5 stars. Otherwise, find something else to do, because we don't want you to waste your time giving us less than that. And until next time, when we will be back again, stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.